speak the same language to get your communication goals. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome today, 2016 of What You Up To Now, documenting the journey. Originally, 2018, I think I started doing this to share information about what I was doing as I transitioned from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business, and a little bit of back and forth, a lot of back and forth these days. But in the beginning, it was switching from to the online world, trying to figure out the online world, the internet. Something I'd always been curious about, but never really jumped into because I was busy running, owning, operating different businesses while simultaneously working in corporate America. I spent over a quarter century in corporate America, and this is actually, I think, my 50th year in business. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but I started my first business when I was 13. So had a lot of business experiences in a lot of different industries, which makes it a very colorful and interesting past. So we are switching gears. This year's annual challenge is the Get Your Goals annual challenge. And I'm using my own life framework, lovely graphics here, that I've used since the 80s, at least since the mid-80s. I want to say mid-80s. I don't think it was the early 80s. Probably started in the 80s, early 80s, but it wasn't until I actually was working in corporate America that I started to actually get more serious about setting goals and objectives. You know, I had goals when I was younger, goals to graduate from college, etc., goals to get a good job, those things. But I really started as I learned and had professional development. My first job out of college was working for Procter & Gamble, and they're notorious. I think they're still probably pretty noteworthy for training their managers and all the people in their organization really, really well in different areas and aspects of not just things to be better leaders and to do team building and things like that, but also whatever area we need personal development in. That was a great place to start because it just continued to encourage my love of learning and lifelong learning. So I had adopted this life framework, and then following the pandemic, I added a couple areas, and we're popping into one of those areas as this month's area of focus for that challenge. We're focusing on a core skill. I think it's a core skill, that and confidence, which is why I added them to my overall life framework. And so I've got a 9-part life framework that I use now: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, and health in those areas, or well-being in those areas. And then I added communication and confidence after the pandemic, because I think 2020, we all needed to have made some changes following that. And a lot of people didn't. A lot of people just went back to how they were before. But others of us have said, I wasn't prepared for that. And I was sort of prepared, but I wasn't any more prepared than most people for the whole craziness of 2020 and 2021. So I did join a coaching program about core skills and core things that we need so that no matter what happens, we're always resilient. We're always able to bounce back and create what it is that we want to create in our life. So as part of communication, starting off today, we're defining what is healthy communication for us. And I shared a tool that I really, really like. It's the strengths, improvement areas, and unknown area. And so as we're thinking about and defining what healthy communication looks like for us, because that's what we want to create in our lives, is healthy, good communication. Well, we have to first know what that is for us. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like to know that we're having excellent communication with another human being or with another organization, etc., or with our customers, whatever it happens to be. So the tool I like to use is the strengths, improvement areas, unknown. And it's a self-evaluation, right? It's a self-awareness, self-assessment tool that helps me say, okay, these are the things I'm pretty good at, I'm proficient at, but I always want to continuously improve because that's inherent in my being. One of my core values is continuous improvement. So even if I think I'm pretty good at speaking, I'm always going to be getting better at it. I'm always going to be looking for ways to improve that. Areas that I know I need to improve in are listening, body language, things like that. Poker face. I have got like the world's worst poker face, so I could probably be better at shielding everything that I think doesn't need to show up on my face all the time. And then as far as unknown goes, I add that because it reminds me that I want to be open to seeing things that I'm not necessarily aware of or seeing, but that could be or are important for me to improve in the area of communication. So, you know, we all have blind spots. I have more than most people, but we all have blind spots and blinders on and tunnel vision when it comes to certain areas and aspects of our life. And for me, communication may very well be one of those. So I always want to be strengths, improvement areas. What am I not noticing that I probably should be or need to be noticing? So that's the tool. Our idiom for today was to speak the same language. I actually really like this idiom because it reminds me that even if we speak the same language, we can still misunderstand one another, because the way I say something and the way I intend for it to be meant and received isn't necessarily the way the receiver of my message receives it, or that they even assign the same intent to it that I meant in the first place. I hope that makes sense. So communication, it's an area I think we all can be better at. And so I'm excited about this month for the challenge. I would love to help you if I can help you in any way with anything, business or non-business related. Just ask. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Have an absolutely fantastic day.